It's almost full.
Yeah. And then Nikon AXR. And then let me see.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm like.
We'll probably want to copy it onto one of the data drives here, just so it's a little quicker.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
sense.
it has to talk back and forth from the drive.
Yeah, I think. Why not? We could do. I'm like, what are my memories? I really don't have. Okay, but yeah, we can do like maybe this one, but and then.
You've been busy.
Oh, I know. I did all this analysis on Amaris, but we want to see if we can do it here too. So maybe, yeah, it's like pretty representative, honestly. So like, what this is, it's like a zebrafish tail.
Okay.
It's a Z-stack in tissue, and Josh and I are both like different samples. Obviously, like I'm doing zebrafish, he isn't, and this is like just the original file, but like. I'm trying to see the intensity of the third far red channel in the macrophages, which are these little red cells, and like also distinguish between the infected and uninfected cells.
Okay. So basically, you've got populations of cells. They're all red.
Yeah.
But some of them are going to have far red in them.
Well, I think the far red is like pretty ubiquitous, so it's
Okay.
like it's in everything, but it's like a lyso tracker, so.
It's enriched in the...
Well, so I just care about it in
Okay.
the
Okay.
macrophages.
So
Yeah.
this is going to start like any other analysis on here. So we're going to go to the Analysis Explorer. We're going to select Create New, GA3.
Okay.
And I would recommend, if we're doing a three-dimensional analysis here, I am going to turn it into a volume view before we start.
Okay.
Because it may glitch out if we try to do it otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay. I have definitely, that is a place where I have kind of semi-consistently crashed the software. One thing I will point out here immediately is that you have a lot of saturation.
Oh, yeah, in the red?
And a bunch of the channels.
Yeah.
You can see
Past
it,
me probably did
right?
That.
So
Yeah.
you see them right here. This one, it's more over here. But I think there was, yeah, there's some there, some there. So it's going to limit the information we're going to get
Yeah,
out of this. But proof of concept will be
Yeah.
fine. Same thing with, I think, this one had...
That's background, though. I don't care about that. But yeah.
But just a heads up that
Yeah.
it's affecting what we're going to do here. All right.
Okay.
So GA3. I'm not going to say General Analysis 3 every time, so just...
Yeah.
So red cells and far red as a thing to measure in them, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, for you guys, so this is the workspace of GA3. We're going to have all of our inputs and all of our outputs, and then we're going to do things to them. We have our preview. This is our progress bar. So when you make a change, before you're like, it's not doing anything, check this, because you might see this bigger,
Okay.
right? Things don't happen instantaneously, because if you try to do too many things while it's previewing, you will crash the software, I guarantee.
Okay.
Patience, and I run into this all the time. I'm like, stop. Oh, crap. All right. So from here, I can toggle on my three-dimensional specific tools by toggling the 3D, and that now anything that's a three-dimension specific tool has the little superscript with 3D on it. So you'll know when you're working with a 3D specific tool. So step one, I would probably go in here and denoise everything.
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to like compare this to like other conditions.
Bear with me here,
okay.
you'll see why this is not a problem.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna bring my denoise out. Normally I would drop it right on top of something and it would auto link, but because I let go early, we can just take this and link it to something. And we're just gonna do that for each of the channels.
Can't you just hit denoise all?
We can, but I like to have all the channels available, so this is the way. Because then if you do this, then you have to split them out again. This is really useful if you don't need to do much with them afterwards. Okay. So there we go. Now we've got each channel, and I can look at the pre and post. Denoise it.
Okay.
It's all here. We're not losing anything.
Yeah.
Alright, so then my next step here, if I'm happy, these look relatively like I should be able to catch them. So let's step right over to our segmentation. 3D segmentation. I'm going to drop that on my Cherry channel here. But the other cool thing here is what we can do. What would we call these cells?
I call them macrophages.
Alright, so we're going to rename this channel so that we know what's happening as we work down here. So I right clicked, it chose rename. So the white top is the function, the bottom colored bit is the output. And if you right click on them, they do have different tooltips. So just bear in mind.
So this was just the threshold.
Threshold,
Okay.
right? So this is our segmentation. So now I'm going to go into its settings by going to the little ...
Yeah.
And now I'm going to define
Yeah, that's nice.
our threshold, and I can go kind of back and forth and kind of get an idea.
Like right around there.
Right? So this is something you can fine tune. This is something you can also do a lot of image pre-processing to kind of narrow down, maybe boost those. And you'll see why it's not a problem. Because you can see it. We want to make the segmentation layer so we can see it and measure correctly.
Yeah.
So now I've got that, and you actually have a relatively simple tool that you want to do. Now you just want to measure through these, but maybe we want to get rid of some of the little stuff, maybe.
Yeah,
Like
the
the
little
little
stuff.
things?
Yeah.
So you may notice that there are some settings for this here, smooth, clean, and stuff. I don't use them there typically
Okay.
because they'll get rid of things that you care about
Yeah.
typically. So we're going to go to binary processing, and I'm going to go down to filter objects, and I'm going to drop that on here. And now I can filter objects. You'll see there's a second anchor. We're not going to worry about this right now, but this allows us to anchor to a image field
Okay.
for intensity measurements or things like that. So I'm going to go into my settings here, and now I'm going to pick, let's do object. Normally I do object area, but now we're in volume, so
I mean, you could do like volume or diameter.
volume right there.
Yeah.
There it is. And things are in different spots
Oh,
to
okay.
where I'm used to. So now I could use these, but I tend to like to type in. So let's do like 200, and we'll see what happens. Okay, maybe too aggressive. Let's go with 100.
That looks
Stuff's
pretty
coming back.
good. Maybe
Let's just
50.
50, yeah. But you can see it's really easy to see what's going on because it shows you.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, and then we got some of these back.
Yeah. that's
So let's
good.
go down to like 15 and see. And then we got some of these. Whether or not
That's
you
probably
want
an
those,
artifact. Yeah, probably not.
Alright.
Do like 50. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
50 was good.
I think 50.
So
yeah.
we kind of tend to triangulate in on it.
Yeah.
But you can stack these too. So you could have a variety of different
Yeah.
filters, and you can filter first by volume, then by shade, then by nearest neighbor. Like you can say, oh, if
Yeah.
they're two stuck together, they're not the same thing. So it makes it really easy. All right, so now we have a layer that we can start measuring on or through. Okay, so we're gonna step over to measurement, and in this case, we're gonna measure a 3D object. So I'm gonna drop that right on here. And you see, okay, that automatically links to the layer that we built, but it's looking for a channel. Here it actually says channel, which is nice. So I'm gonna now measure data. But wait a second, if I go back here, I've changed my data, right? I can go all the way back to the raw channel.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So this is why it doesn't really matter. All your pre-processing steps to get your layer doesn't affect your raw data.
Okay. That's nice.
And in the end, if we look right here, our saved pictures, you see they're outputting to save pictures? Well, right now, those are linked to my denoised. Well, I don't want that. I'm just going to take these, and I'm going to relink them to my raw data.
When it says save pictures, is it saving like?
So basically, if these linked to the denoise.ai, when this works on the image, you'll get the denoise.ai image,
Okay.
like you were running it on your picture.
Yeah.
If I instead connect these to the raw data, it's going to do this, measure, and then it's going to discard these changes to the image because it did.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Sorry. Yeah. No,
So-
that sounds good.
So it's a
Yeah,
way.
makes sense. Okay.
This allows you to do all sorts of things to the image you might need to do
Mhm.
to make segmenting it
Yeah.
easier. But
Okay.
then still measure your raw data. No more reference images, no more taking this image, holding it as a reference, this one, doing your stuff to it, making your layer, and then substituting back in your reference image, and then measuring your data through that. It's
Yeah.
all in a flow.
Mhm.
Again, we have complete access. I could measure here, I could measure here,
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Okay. And so this object measurement, it's recording. I guess we'll tell it
Yep.
what.
So we haven't
Yeah.
told it to do anything yet, so for now it's just giving us a rough
list.
count, a
Okay.
list as it were, because each of these is its own object
Mhm.
that I can interact with, and it's highlighted.
Yeah.
So now you kind of notice a theme here that anything that you can interact with that has settings has the little dot dot dot,
Mhm.
and we can come in and we can say, okay, I want to get the total measured. Well, we probably don't want the whole thing. Volume intensity or object intensity. So in this case, each one of these is an object. So then I can come in here and give me the intensity of the mCherry channel. Great.
Mhm.
Give me the intensity of, and in this case, every time you link it to a channel, you get an extra channel node.
Okay. Okay.
So now I can go ahead and I can measure both of those channels.
Okay.
And I can do mean, max, min, sum, quantile,
Yeah.
all sorts of good stuff. And now you'll see
Yeah. That's beautiful.
in our chart, in
Yeah.
our table here, they both exist.
Mhm.
And if you want these to be more readable, you change their name here. So we can say like
Like macrophage.
Cherry.
Yeah, cherry.
intensity, because we already know it's a macrophage
Yeah.
entity
Yeah.
here. So it just depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
And this is sci-fi
Yeah.
or
Lyso tracker. Yeah.
so intensity.
Mhm.
And then you could do, if you wanted to, can we do this at this point? Is this something you can do here? Yeah, no, I don't want this one. I don't want to do it here yet. Let's do that. But there you go. There's your layer.
Mhm.
Data management, we can do all sorts of other things with it. This gets a little crazy, but I could say, oh, let's reduce those records. And now I can get, out of all of those, the mean intensity. Right?
Yeah.
Just another thing you can do with it. And you can reduce those records by a variety of different things, by
Okay.
grouping and sorting.
Okay.
Where is it? Calculated column.
Okay. So this was the simple analysis that
Okay.
I wanted to do. The more
Well, let's save this
complicated-
as,
yeah.
we'll call this a simple volume.
So, okay. And it'll just save this workflow.
Yep.
And
Okay.
back in there before you move on, there was a ratio function. So I'm going to be using
Mhm.
Lysosensor and we look at ratiometric between the
Yep.
two channels. Is that going to automatically give me the ratio of like the mCherry to the foreground channel? Okay. Nice.
Or you can do Pearson's or Manders. Right? I was going to show you how to calculate that column, but it's, you're right, it's built in.
It's built in, yeah. I mean, I'm assuming you could just divide them. Is that just all?
Yeah,
is that all
so
there
just to show you what you can do, in the data management, there's a calculated column. So if I tag that on here, I can actually go in and say, well, let's take the mCherry intensity, the mean, divided by the Lyso tracker intensity. There should be it's probably pulling. I'd have to double check where it's pulling that
It
value
looks like
from.
it's weird that it's the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the same for all of them, Josh. Yeah.
I think it's pulling the. This is where it always takes. I think it's just this. There we go. So you can build your own math.
Yeah.
There is now places to do more and more like JavaScript and Python kind of stuff. So if you already had things that were built,
No.
it
But
can be implemented. But it's
yeah.
there. And then we can, if we really wanted to, we could So we have a bunch of stuff.
So like,
And then,
oh, I was just gonna say, so the output from this. So like, let's.
So once you're happy with those records, you can always kick it out to Excel.
Yeah.
When you run this, basically in the GA3, you'll get like, it will show you each iteration, and then if you select it, there will be a little table. You click that, this will pop the data for that image back up.
Okay, and then can you run it for like multiple images?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's go ahead, we're going to save that. The way we do that, let me put a tool on here, we'll call this batch.
and then how does it save the analysis we run? Because I'm just thinking if we have to publish, how did we get this
Well. Oh, like explaining.
explaining the analysis? Like, does it output a way that?
I don't know. I think you just have to write it out.
Yeah, and then, so I will also point out, let's pop this open again. If you have a question on what something is doing, you can actually right click on it, and there's a little question mark. Watch your eyes, it's going to jump back to the menu here. And it will bring you, it should bring you right to
What that one
is, but let's see. It may just be, yeah, that one may not have had him help, I think. But if we go to measurement, measurement features, we can actually see, it will show us for each measurement feature if it has an equation. So if somebody, if reviewer number 3 is like, show me the equation, you can go back, look at what node you used, and as long as it's not some proprietary thing we've come up with,
Yeah.
it'll show you exactly what it did.
I guess now that now this is in line with like my more complicated analysis where it's like distinguishing between like infected and uninfected cells. Like
Okay.
having like another layer.
Well, let's duplicate this.
Yeah.
And we're just going to work on that one. So again, so let's say we want to make a layer based on the far red, right? Would that indicate
Yeah, it's
infection
the green
or
is
the green?
yeah.
Green is that. Okay, hold on, it's building the stuff. All right, so go to our green layer. And we're going to do basically the same thing. We're going to go ahead and we've already done pre-processing that we need to for the moment.
So to get this, you just hit the green channel
Yeah.
with this open. Okay, yeah.
And drop our threshold on top of that.
Okay.
And let's say we don't want to see this layer for the moment.
Yeah.
I'm just going to toggle it off.
Yeah.
Just so we can look at what we're doing. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to do the same thing. Rinse and repeat.
The green is very bright, so it's like a lot as background. It's like just like that looks pretty good.
So here, again, and you can go and do those extra steps of, filtering if you wanted to. And you can filter by intensity if you wanted to. Like, oh, these are really bright. They're maxed. So, like, just filter out anything that's, like, maxed out. Because maybe it's a blob, right? Maybe you don't know if it's bigger or smaller.
Yeah.
As a theoretical. I'm not saying that's what you want to do. Just
Yeah.
as a use case,
Mhm.
right? Or you say, oh, that's too dim.
Yeah.
Filter that out. Like, I'm having trouble filtering based on intensity in general. But once I get the shapes and I've cleared out my little stuff, then it's easy,
Yeah.
just to showcase the flexibility. So then you want all of the, so what we call these are infected.
It's just I mean the green by itself is just the salmonella, but yeah.
So let's call this
Bacteria.
salmonella
Yeah, salmonella is
or bacteria.
Right. Bacteria is either one. Bacteria.
Okay, so we're gonna call that bacteria. And then what I'm gonna do, because we want all of the macrophages having bacteria, I'm gonna go to my binary operations.
Okay.
And then I'm going to take my having tool and say, give me all of the macrophages. That's
Okay.
A. Having B. Having bacteria.
Okay.
And what I would do, because you'll notice A is flowing through, right? So you can always tell what the master layer is, because the next layer down is the same thing. And I can only have one of these active at a time. That may or may not be what I want to do. I can still measure. I don't have to do the next step, but I like to. So I'm going to right click on this one, and I'm going to tell it make a new layer. So now I can make these red. Ah, they're infected.
Yeah.
we're gonna make it red, and we're gonna go ahead and we'll call this one infected. And now you see I have 3 different layers.
Okay, so
And then how you toggle off the other 2 again?
Just toggle.
Just, like, right there.
It's gonna take a second to render. Right, so based on our current setup, this is what we're getting.
Okay.
And then it's just measuring.
Can you could I link this to the same object measure? Or does it have to have its own?
There's 2 ways we could approach this. So I'm actually gonna delete these. So I'm gonna control click and drag so that I can highlight a bunch. I'm gonna delete it. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of put these in a way that kind of makes sense to me.
I feel like the only thing so this is identifying the infected macrophages, but like for my analysis, basically it's like I want to look at the intensity of the infected versus the uninfected, so I have to have both.
We're gonna get there.
Okay, we're gonna get there. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So once we have that, now they're all just different layers that we can do.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier, like if you know that, so this isn't really stuff that's, alright, let's do it this way. We're gonna do 2 separate object volumes, 1 and 2. And we're gonna point 1 at that infected, 1 at the macrophages, and then we're going to link, in this case we'll just link each one to its channel, right? So this is where, so macrophages are, I'm sorry, this is opposite, right?
Yeah.
Macrophages are
M-cherry.
M-cherry,
And technically, I
and
guess both.
infected,
Both are M-cherry, but yeah, infected also has GFP. Yeah.
this is where things tend to get a little, we have to do some data management here at this
Yeah.
point. So now we've got our 2 things, we put in our measurement features, which is intensity, right, basically, for this, and this. There we go. Intensity. And then, which one do we want to do here? This is. Just trying to think of the right way to do this. Because right now we have 2 records.
Yeah.
We got macrophages, and we've got this. So it's kind of a weird, like, it's not really, it's like a parent-child relationship, but it's not in our software.
Yeah.
So parent-child is basically our way of saying, like, this thing has things in it.
Mm-hmm.
So
But it wouldn't be possible to take the filter object macrophages and set a threshold of GFP and say GFP positive or GFP negative.
you could do that too. You could. That's probably one way you could tackle it. There's
That's what
probably
I
like 100 different ways to tackle it.
Yeah, that's what I did in Amaris. Is I made this object and then set a threshold saying oh, if it's above this GFP, I'm gonna say it's infected. If it's
Yeah.
below, it's yeah.
Well, we could definitely do filtering records or grouping records, things like that. So there's a lot of different things we could do.
Uh-huh.
Because this is getting very close to like a parent-child relationship, but it's not. Let's do this. I think a parent-child.
Maybe it's relevant. I feel like Josh, you wouldn't care about the uninfected though. I do.
Yeah, I'm only going to be looking at infected cells, and then I just care about the intensity, I guess.
Yeah, the only downside to parent-child is it doesn't give us the ability to link to more than one channel for intensity, which is kind of frustrating.
Uh-huh.
So we might end up at like a joining step. But
Yeah, it's kind of like
Because you have like a hard cutoff, where you're going to say like this is.
well, that's what I did on the other software. Is I just
for the
was like,
GFP.
I made a threshold where I was like, if it has intensity above this, then I'm gonna say it's infected. If it doesn't, then I'm gonna say it's like not infected. So, and then, but then it's like the output that I want is the third channel, the far red.
So basically what I did here, and we could actually change this, like if you just care about the far red through it,
I care about the far red at the end of the day. Yeah.
because
but-
what parent-child relationship has done is it's counted all of the macrophages, and then it counts the children of the macrophages, which in this case is the infected layer, and then I can measure specifically the intensity of the children
in GFP.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, but
So
yeah, I guess I would.
there's a bunch of like you might have to like sketch it out
Yeah.
first, and then we could sit down maybe with like a one-on-one
Yeah.
and go over exactly what you want to do. But there's a bunch of different
That
ways
makes
to do
sense.
this.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we're doing individual objects and then we're like joining records potentially, or even just filtering, or you could just
Okay, but just remind me. So like simply, like let's say, okay, let me just see maybe if I can do this. But like, oh god,
because you have a very clear idea. I can tell you have a very clear idea of what you're aiming for.
yeah, okay. So I want to the records, so the results. Like if I just want to
So it's a data management.
data management.
I think
And then if I just wanted to like output like the intensity from this, I would just do.
Okay, so
Sorry,
so
I'm
first
like,
of all,
just remind me. Yeah.
So let's delete this one.
Okay.
So we just hit right click
Yeah.
on it, or hit the little trash can, and then we're gonna go back to measurement.
Okay. So just
Yeah.
measurement.
So grab the object 3D. So
Project. Okay. And then just drag, and then.
You
I guess-
link to the binary, and then you link to the channel you want to measure.
Okay. And then I want to measure like sci-fi.
But remember, with this one, you can measure more than one.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could. Yeah.
So it's
But-
measuring through that mask those values.
Okay. And so then, this is the.
Yeah,
and
there's
then-
no measurement in it yet. It's just giving you a list of objects.
So to select the measure. Okay. So yeah, you click on it, and then like say like.
That's going to be total field volume. So like anything in these top sections, that's like
Uh-huh.
overall,
Okay.
like the aggregation of data. The whole field,
Oh, the whole.
right?
The whole
So
field. Okay.
these are objects. You'll get like this is
Oh,
volume. This
oh,
is
I
volume.
see.
This will be like the whole mask.
Oh, okay, yeah, no.
Yeah.
So object intensity. Yeah, sci-fi. That's good. And then I could add like another one. I guess
Will it
it's
change
both.
the intensity.
Or change the
Do you
channel.
have-
Oh, the channel.
You have there you go.
Okay, there it is. Okay, so then, yeah. And so then I can just X
Yep.
out
Close that.
and then,
You toggle like we're not seeing any
Oh.
data just because that's not toggle.
okay. And then it'll output.
Nope.
Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to like the basic, like okay, the basic is like the measurement. Okay. Yeah. What
Did
is
you do this was
wait, what?
Is there a way to display, so we have what, 46 objects? Is there a way to display
Oh, the
those
old
numbers of
one?
objects on the
I've
image?
never
So you
tried
can
to
see,
use it before.
like, this is object 42?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never tried to use it before.
That might be a mess, but in mine there's gonna be a lot less. There'll be like 5. It'll be nice to have like this is image like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Where do we have? In colorize. Where is our?
Yeah,
I think we have
so
to
it's
step
all
into
the
advanced for
macrophages
this.
are red, and I'm like, I want to distinguish like the ones that are infected or not, like, based on GFP intensity within, but GFP intensity within the macrophages. The bacteria. So it should be within the macrophages, not just floating around. And then from there, once I distinguish, like once I identify the objects, I want to look at the intensity of the third channel.
So outside of a 3D volume, we can go in and say show binary ID.
Oh, there
Do you want to do in one of your images?
Okay, it's
Josh?
not. It does
they are. Can't
not.
do this in 3D.
Does not show them in 3D.
Okay. I mean that's fine. I mean if I need to, I'll just figure out which one is what. Because you can highlight it here and it comes
Yep.
up now. Yeah. And then I'll just say this is. Yeah. That's.
Do you want to
easy
do?
enough.
Do you want to do one of your images?
If we want, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean,
I think it's a little easier.
yeah. Yeah, I think we could switch to one of Josh's images. Like I think for me, like the only The
Data
other-
management is always where it comes down
I
to figuring out
know,
the best order.
The other thing I think I would probably want to do is like look at the engulfed bacteria and ask what's the intensity of the sci-fi channel. So like in Amaris, like I made a co-localization channel
Yep.
of red and green, and then asked like, okay, what's the intensity of sci-fi? So I guess, but for that maybe here. it would
Here
be,
you're
like,
just using your
Yeah,
masks,
yeah.
and then
So-
you just take your measurement and you just point it towards the channel that you want to measure. Because
No,
what's
I think
happening,
it makes sense. Yeah.
what's happening is like, let's say you got the bacteria.
Mhm.
That's a smaller subset theoretically,
yeah.
like a smaller area.
Mhm.
You can tell this to measure on this layer this intensity, and it just
Yeah.
looks through that little
But
spot.
yeah, but no, just going through this was helpful though. Like it got some of the basics, like, you know,
And
it's
there
helpful.
is
Yeah.
basic control, examples, and they show you how to do some of these things.
Yeah.
And then if you have like all the help stuff,
Yeah.
that's there.
Okay. Yeah. Do you want to do one of yours, Josh? If you could
Yeah.
save it, that would be great. Like right now. Or
Let's see,
or, like
guys.
infected infected max maybe. Yeah. So thank you, Eric.
Yeah, no worries. And if you're working on it and you need more help, just let me know,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Because if I can't figure it out, then I go back to the software team and be like, guys.
I will
it's-
say it is nice to like. I guess this would probably be relevant to you too. Maybe like the final thing for me is like usually per experiment I have like 40-ish images, and
So,
I like
we
want to
missed
apply.
batch.
Yeah.
So,
we restarted and then we got
I
disconnected.
put the
yeah.
batch tool down here. Batch is very cool because you guys only have this system. You don't have a workstation for analysis, right? So you don't want to tie it up for imaging
Yeah.
purposes, right?
Mhm.
So batch GA3, you can actually load up either individual images or file or folders, and then you tell it which GA3 you want to run. You point it to the folder. I'll just point it there for now, just for fun. And then you can queue up completely different analyses.
Okay.
And then somebody at the end of the day could hit run.
Okay.
And so like you could have an analysis, you could have an analysis, and you could have an analysis. And rather than running that, during the day when people want to be imaging, you can set it up to go overnight or over the weekend or something like
Yeah.
that. Just depends on how much data you have.
We got a little baby fluorescent light microscope a little closer to our lab, and it has so is this software available on like different?
You
Nikon
can
desktops.
install it anywhere, but you
Okay.
need the security key that's on it, a license key to run the software.
Okay, so I guess we'd have to check to see if ours has
You can also get
this. Yeah.
analysis only licenses.
Yeah.
That's true too. How much is?
Depends on the modules, right? Because you buy the baseline, and then the modules are extra
Oh,
costs.
yeah,
Like GA3 is like a little, lists at like a little over $2,500 for just that module.
Oh.
So then AI is like $5,000. Decon is like $10,000.
I see.
Decon's super expensive. So all right.
What did we take last time over here?
We definitely have some relevant ones. Like there are some relevant ones in there, Josh.